အားလုံးမင်္ဂလာပါခင်ဗျာကျွန်တော် Kenneth Wong ပါ Hi everyone, I'm Kenneth Wong, the author of UC Burmese and Survival Burmese, both from Tuttle Publishing. Glad to have you along for another lesson. In today's lesson, we'll take a look at an excerpt from a short story by Masanda and pick up some useful structures and expressions from it. This is from a story titled Chamamada Dago Shiyenle. Chamamada Dago Shiyenle, meaning if only I had the power. From Collected Short Stories, Volume 3. Here is the text read by my bookish and literary friend Jane, a young lady from Yangon.
10နှစ်သမီးအရွယ်တုန်းကပေါ့ကျမလေးတကယ်ကိုပိန်ပိန်ကက်ကက်ကလေးရယ်ကျမရဲ့ငကိုအသားမဖြူပါဘူးဒါပေမဲ့နေပူဆက်ခါဆော့လုံးလုံးအဲ့ဒီတုန်းကကျမရဲ့အသားကညိုယုံမကောက်ပြပြီးမဲနေတယ်
Let's start from the title. The title reads Chamamada Dago Shiyenle. Chamama is roughly with me, in me, or in my direction. For simplicity, you might think of it as just I. Dago is power, usually divine and supernatural, the kind you find in gods, angels, and fairies, not economic, military, or political power. Shi is the verb to have or possess. Finally, the conditional particle yin, which functions like the English if. This form is speculative form. I call it the wishful speculative form. If you say, if only I had supernatural power, clearly you don't have it. That's why I call it wishful speculation. It's the form to talk about something you wish you had or could do but actually don't or cannot for some reasons. For example, if you say, Chama ma ga shide, this is a simple statement that means I have a car. We're using the feminine polite form for I, since that's how the title was in Masanda's story. But if you say, Chamamada ga shiyin, that means, if only I had a car. Then you might complete the sentence with something like, Chamamada ga shiyin, nedain kane zeitwame. If only I had a car, I would go to the market every day by car. By English grammar rules, it doesn't make sense that in talking about possessing a supernatural power or having a car, the speaker is using the direction particle ma, roughly the equivalent of in or at. This is not absolutely essential, but Burmese speakers often use the direction particle ma to talk about something they have with them, on them, or in their domain, figuratively. Talking about siblings, you might hear them say, Jama ma ako tiyaw shide. Jama ma ako tiyaw shide. I have an older brother, but literally, they're saying, in my direction or on my side, I have an older brother. I'll give you another wishful speculation. Jama nanji tho chettate. Jama nanji tho chettate. That means I know how to make nanji tho. I know how to cook nanji tho. But if you say Jama da nanji tho chetayen, that means if only I knew how to make nanji tho. With that, you can go on and say something like Jama da nanji tho chetayen, webo malobu. If only I knew how to make nanji tho, I wouldn't have to buy it. I wouldn't need to buy it. Now let's listen to the story with my English translation, sentence by sentence.
10နှစ်သမီးအရွယ်တုန်းကပေါ့ကျမလေးတကယ်ကိုပိန်ပိန်ကက်ကက်ကလေးရယ်
When I was 10 years old, I was a really skinny little thing.
ကျမရဲ့ငကိုအသားမဖြူပါဘူး
My natural skin wasn't white to begin with.
ဒါပေမဲ့နေပူဆက်ခါဆော့လုံးလုံးအဲ့ဒီတုန်းကကျမရဲ့အသားကညိုယုံမကောက်ပြပြီးမဲနေတယ်
But because I played too much under the scorching sun, not only was my skin brown, I was bluish black. Some important words to pay attention to in this passage. Senethami ayuedonga. When I was 10 years old. The character is talking about when she was a little girl, which is why she added the word thami. As a kinship word, it means daughter, but here it functions as a word that means a little girl. So if you want to say, when I was a 13-year-old boy, following this example, you can say, Jano satho nitha ayuedonga. Replace the word thami for daughter with tha for son or boy. Donga is quite useful for anchoring events in a past time frame. Take a look at this. If you say Jano Bagan, it means I went to Bagan. But if you say Chano Bagan Thwadonga, that means when I went to Bagan. If you say Chano Paris ma Jang Ten Nede, that means I was going to school in Paris. I was attending school in Paris. On the other hand, if you say Chano Paris ma Jang Ten Ne Donga, it means when I was attending school in Paris, when I was going to school in Paris. That should clear up how to use donga to anchor events in some point in the past. It's important to note that the expression donga, also pronounced donga, is for specifying time frames in the past. You cannot use it to talk about an event that hasn't happened yet in a speculative sense. You'd have to do something different if you want to say, for example, when I go to Paris next year, I'll visit the Louvre Museum. Let's leave that for another lesson, shall we? Dagego is an emphatic adverb that means actually or truly. It's derived from the word dage, which means true. For example, if you say Chauxia Gaunde, that's scary, or Chisia Gaunde, lovely, adorable. But if you say Dagego Chauxia Gaunde, that means truly scary, or Dagego Chisia Gaunde, really adorable. Bang bang kaka is a compound verb made up of the word bang, to be thin, and ka, to stick to something. Think of it as a description of someone who is so skinny her skin seems to be sticking to her bony frame. The opposite of that would be wawa tok tok, made up of the verb wa, to be chubby, and tok, to be thick and stout. Jamaya nago ata. This literally translates to my original skin. But what she meant is the skin color I was born with. In English, you'd say something like my natural skin, mapu babu. That means wasn't white. In other words, I wasn't fair skinned from birth to begin with. There's no Burmese expression that corresponds to begin with in this sentence, but the use of nago for original and what comes next suggests this is the sense in which she said it. What comes next is Dabime nepu saka solonlo, because I played so much in the scorching sun. Nepu saka is an adverb phrase to talk about doing something under intense heat of the sun. The phrase is made up of nepu, hot sun, and saka, spicy and bitter. You might not think of using flavor words to describe sunlight's intensity. It may not make sense to you, but if you have ever been in Southeast Asia in the height of summer and feel the sting of the sun bearing down on your exposed skin, well, then you might understand what the writer is trying to express. Now we arrive at the most important part of this lesson. This sentence. Chamaya athaga nyoyong temakabu piabi menide. One more time. Chamaya athaga nyoyong temakabu piabi menide. Not only was my skin brown, it was bluish black. The author said nyoyong makabu, but people might also say nyoyong dem makabu. Something something yong makabu and something something yong dem makabu are essentially the same thing. Ding could be dropped for simplicity's sake. Chamaya thaga nyore is a simple way to say my skin is brown. But if you revise it as Chamaya thaga nyoyong dem makabu, that means not only was my skin brown, then the writer finishes off with piabi menide. Piabi menide. Piabi menide joins two colors, pia to be blue and me to be dark. Grammatically speaking, they are verbs. That's why they cannot be joined with the particle ne, like you might say che une mo for egg and toast. Two nouns. You have to join them with the particle be, also pronounced be. If you want to say something like dark and sparkling or dark and shiny, for example, to describe somebody's eyes, you'd say Thu myalonga maybe dawnide. His or her eyes are dark and sparkling or dark and bright. Now let's put this structure to use, shall we? If you say Thu ama yamyende, that means her sister, older sister to be specific, is tall. If you say Thu ama atha pude, that means her sister is fair-skinned. You could also join these two and say Thu ama yamyeyong demagabu atha le pude. Not only is her sister tall, she's also fair-skinned. Let's try another one. ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေ့ဈေးဝယ်မယ် I'll go shopping today. ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေ့ဖျားဖူးမယ် I'll go visit a temple or a pagoda. The verb pu, by the way, is a special verb for visiting sacred places. In this case, it's the pagoda you're visiting, so it's appropriate. Now, if we were to join those two, you can say ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေ့ဈေးဝယ်ရုံတင်မကဘူးဖျားလဲဖူးမယ် Not only will I go shopping, I'll also visit a pagoda. I'll also pay homage to a pagoda. Let's try something more dramatic and complicated, shall we? ကျွန်တော်စိတ်ရှုပ်တယ် That means I'm frustrated. ကျွန်တော်အော်ပြီးငိုချင်တယ် That means I want to shout and cry. ကျွန်တော်စိတ်ရှုပ်ရုံတင်မကဘူးအော်ပြီးငိုချင်တယ် Not only am I frustrated, I want to shout and cry. Well, that's a lot to digest, so let's stop here. Now that you understand pretty much all the phrases and the structures in this text, I will let you listen to my friend Jane's lovely reading of the text again, just in Burmese.
ဆယ်နှစ်သမီးအရွယ်တုန်းကပေါ့ကျမလေးတကယ်ကိုပိန်ပိန်ကက်ကက်ကလေးရယ်ကျမရဲ့ငကိုအသားမဖြူပါဘူးဒါပေမဲ့နေပူဆက်ခါဆော့လွန်းလွန်းအဲ့ဒီတုန်းကကျမရဲ့အသားကညိုယုံမကဘူးပြပြီးမဲနေတယ်
We'll continue reading this excerpt from Masanda's short story in the next lesson. So, until next time, see you later. Now, Matwime.